In the late 1980s, screenwriter Barry Blaustein was at a Los Angeles Clippers game watching Michael Cage, a 6'9" rebounding machine, known almost as much for his vibrant jerry curl as his domineering talent, when an idea hit him. He and his writing partner, David Sheffield, had been working on a script with Eddie Murphy called The Quest, about an African prince who travels to America to find a wife. Staring at Cage's formidable follicles, Blaustein thought back to 1970s commercials for Afro Sheen hair products. He decided on the spot that he and Sheffield should lampoon the ads in their film, which would later be retitled Coming to America. Blaustein and Sheffield named the product the less catchy Afro Glow in an early draft of the script and sent lyrics for a mock jingle to the film's composer and music supervisor, Nile Rodgers. After the product name underwent a minor rebranding, Rodgers employed rock singer Christopher Max to belt what would soon be immortalized in 2 words: Soul Glow. It was supposed to be a throwaway joke, just one of many in the beloved comedy starring Murphy as naive Prince Akeem of the fictional nation of Zamunda, and Arsenio Hall as his beleaguered attaché, Semi. Though the movie was panned by critics, it became the second highest grossing film of 1988. And over the years, a cult within a cult formed around the Soul Glow commercial and song. As for the inspiration, co-writer Barry Blaustein explained, "When Dave and I were writing, we thought it would be funny to show a commercial in it. It was in the original script, and we were influenced by the Afro Sheen commercials on Soul Train, where people's hair would magically be enhanced by a product and their lives would be forever changed. The scene was written very quickly. We were laughing and saying, this could be a real commercial. We were very high." Co-writer David Sheffield said, "I don't dispute that. That's almost guaranteed. I think we were probably high when we wrote the entire movie. We were looking for a way to hate Lisa's boyfriend in the movie, played by Eric LaSalle. We came up with the idea that he had this company Soul Glow, and that he was a customer as well as an owner. We wrote this scene in the screenplay where Eddie and Arsenio walk up to a store window and see this commercial. And the idea was that establishes Soul Glow and gives Eddie the idea of getting a haircut at the barber shop. It was all connected." Blaustein told Rolling Stone, "We wrote the song's lyrics, and it was sent to Nile Rodgers, who put music to it." Composer Nile Rodgers explained, "I get a phone call from director John Landis, and he says, 'I don't know who you are, but somebody told me that you're some kind of genius or something. I'm doing this new picture with Eddie Murphy,' and he sent me the script called The Zamunda Project. Coming to America was my first big orchestral score, but goddamn, I grew up in movie theaters. The first day, I drove up on the lot, and John and an older man I thought was his father were waiting for me to take me to my parking space. We're talking for 10 minutes before I realized it was Eddie Murphy in full makeup as the Jewish guy in the barber shop. John and Eddie were probably secretly dying inside. You can imagine what an adventure this was for me from beginning to end." Regarding the aesthetic, Blaustein elaborated, the hair and makeup people came to me and said, "How bad should the Jerry curl be?" I'm a Clippers fan, and there was a basketball player named Michael Cage who had a Jerry curl, and the hair was based on his hair at the time. I remember going to a game once. He was a ferocious rebounder, and actually seeing some of the liquid flopping off his hair and into his opponent's eyes. Former NBA player Michael Cage laughed hysterically upon hearing that. There were people that laughed at Jerry curls, and then there were people like me who actually did it. I loved my hair, man, and it was a big part of my whole persona at the time. I kind of held on to the Jerry curl a little bit longer than most people, but I feel honored because that movie is so iconic in every way possible. Nile Rodgers went into detail on what it was like composing the comedy classic. Around that time, there were a lot of commercials that played in the Black community. There was particularly one about hair products and another commercial about a collection of soul classics. I thought about those two commercials, my own family, and Eddie Murphy, and all the great jokes saying you always have an uncle in your family who mispronounces polysyllabic words. When I wrote the intro, I had actually written, "You could be all the things you've always wanted to be. Smooth, sophisticated, easy as 1, 2, 3. John Landis looked at me and said, "I can't say sophisticated. I'll get run out of Hollywood." I said, "John, every Black person will be on the floor crying when you go sophisticated." I was fighting with John. He would say, "Well, maybe white people won't get it." That doesn't make any difference. Half of the people will be laughing, and the rest will go along with them because it would be so infectious. But he wouldn't let me do it. Rock artist Christopher Max was chosen for the Soul Glo vocalist. Of Max, Nile Rodgers had this to say: "Chris is an incredibly talented musician, like a next-level kind of guy. I knew that Chris not only could sing it, but he understood the comedic aspect of it. It was just Chris's delivery that really brought that thing home. He sang it with so much soul and so much conviction. We had to be dead serious. If I was trying to make fun of something, it wouldn't have worked. There couldn't be anything funny about it." Christopher Max elaborated. "Every single time that I hit one of those high notes, I could barely get the song recorded because I would start cracking up, and the guys in the control room would just start rolling on the floor. We practically didn't get it done because it was so hilarious. I just interpreted it as being the ultimate spoof parody on the typical gospel soul singer. Yes, it was me singing, but it was like I was pretending to sound like someone else." Christopher Max got his first record deal at Warner Brothers when he was 19. Coming to America was not his first time being employed alongside Eddie Murphy. My first TV appearance was singing backup vocals for Michael McDonald on Saturday Night Live. And the irony is, while I was there, I met Eddie Murphy for the first time. Christopher Max went on to say the film came along at the right time in his life. I was in my 20s when I did that song. I'm in my 60s now. Hitting those notes is literally an impossibility at this point in my life. I would have to significantly lower the key, like we would be doing it in heavy metal. Next came finding the perfect boyfriend Daryl, aka the Prince of Soul Glo. And they found him in newcomer Eric LaSalle. Coming to America was my first big break. At that point in my career, Eddie Murphy's name attached to it felt beyond me. Great jobs that someone else always gets. John Landis was there with the casting person. At that time in the 80s, you had so many people that had to sign off on you. I never auditioned for someone who had the power to just hire you there. I did my audition. He gave me a note. We did it again, And he was like, "That was great. I'll see you on set." I was like, "Excuse me?" "Yeah, I'm hiring you." It was one of the most empowering moments of my career. I've never forgotten that feeling. Co-writer Barry Blostein explained, "When Eric was cast, I thought he was just perfect. He was a good-looking guy, and there were some executives from Paramount who were concerned that he was so great-looking, why would Lisa not like him? Why don't we want her to stay with him?" And then the way John shot his entrance, pulling up in that car with the Soul Glow music playing. All he had to do was just look at himself in the mirror and adjust his hair, and you knew immediately that the guy was an asshole. LaSalle further explained, "I remember Nile Rodgers being on set and introducing himself and saying, 'Hey man, I'm working on this great song.' I didn't know I was going to get a theme song. So you get a bit of a song and you go, I don't know how it's going to be, but it was hilarious. When you see the commercial, then you're like, oh, okay, I fully get it." Of his bougie aesthetic, LaSalle said, John Landis was very clear on what kind of wardrobe he wanted this guy to have, and his wife was a costume designer. She brought in some very outlandish, over-the-top stuff, but that's who this guy was. It started helping me discover the character. I started really getting into it, like, let's get some red leather gloves and a red and white poncho. Clyde Jones and Paulette Benoza were hired as the man and woman in the Soul Glow commercial. Of the man in the commercial, Blostein remarked, "He was so good-looking, he was almost like a parody of a good-looking guy." Sheffield elaborated, "He seemed perfect for it, and he was so eager to get the part. He said, 'Now look, I look dark in a room, but I'm a lot lighter looking on camera.' And it was true. We hired Paulette the same day. We wanted to do a handsome couple, and they were." Of getting her Soul Glow role, Paulette Benoza said, "I was doing runway modeling, and my agency sent me out because there was a lot of auditions for videos and commercials. They said to me, 'Can you swing your hair?' I said, 'Ooh, yeah, I can swing some hair, girl.' I started slinging it around, and they're cracking up laughing. I didn't even know it was for an Eddie Murphy movie. I just thought it was for a commercial for a hair product." Of acquiring his role, Clyde Jones said, "I knew Arsenio, and a friend of my ex-wife said, 'Arsenio and Eddie are doing this movie about some guys from Africa.' I went in and met with David and Barry. I guess they were looking for models, and that's what I was. I'm surprised that Eddie did all those roles, but God was with me because he didn't do Soul Glow. I'm like, thank God. Eddie could have probably played the Soul Glow guy. It would have been iconic like it is now." Now that the players were all lined up, it was time for the actual shoot. Sheffield said, "We wrote the commercial to appear in the shop window, and John Landis asked Barry and me to produce and direct it. John gave us a few $1,000s, and we had to shoot it on videotape. We were sort of annoyed by that because we wanted it to look good, and then we thought, well, it really shouldn't look good. It should look cheap. We succeeded in that." Blostein said, "It had to look and play like a credible commercial, and it was done with the same production qualities as the Afro Sheen commercials. The song is pornography in melody form, so it's very interesting what the creators had in mind for their hair product." Says Sheffield, "We wanted the bottle for Soul Glow to look as much like a penis as possible. We thought that would be funny, so I went in search of dildos with the prop guy from the movie. We went to this sex shop in Hollywood called the Pleasure Chest, walked up to the counter and said, 'We'd like to look at some dildos, please.' So we gathered up an armload of dildos and took them back. When Landis found out that's what we were doing, he became furious and said, 'You can't put a penis in the movie. It's gross.' The bottle we wound up with is sort of phallic, but not as much as we wanted it to be." It was a very simple shoot. It was shot in a couple of hours, and John Landis was very happy with it. Co-writer Sheffield elaborated, "We had to bring a special camera for the slow-mo effect, just for the part where Clyde swings his head in and the spray goes flying, because that was the technology at the time. We put the actors on a little turntable to spin them around. Actress Paulette Bonoza recalled being nervous about kissing her co-star. I'm a prude from Texas. I got a husband and 3 daughters, and I don't want to put that kind of thing out there. But Clyde's girlfriend was there, and in between every kiss take, he went to sit with her, make sure that he wasn't enjoying it. I went back and watched the commercial, and I was like, man, I really kissed him. I must have blocked that out because I thought we went cheek to cheek. Clyde Jones elaborated. We shot the scene in one day at the Paramount lot. I'm surprised that Eddie did all those roles, but God was with me because he didn't do Soul Glow. I'm like, thank God. I was on the road for years doing plays, and they would promote me as the Soul Glow Man. For 20 years, I was just the Soul Glow Man on the road doing theater, theater, theater. In 2016, Nile Rodgers tweeted that the Soul Glow theme song was his single proudest moment, leading fans to wonder if he was being serious or ironic. I was serious, Rodgers said. Christopher Max, Soul Glow vocalist, said, You're talking about the guy who did We Are Family, Chic, Madonna, David Bowie's Let's Dance? What? He says that his proudest thing is Soul Glow, and I'm the guy singing the song? It's just mind-blowing. How do you process that? So, tell me, viewers, are you a lifelong fan of this cult classic within a cult classic? I would love to hear from you in the comments. Thank you for watching, and good night.